Hello, Big Ben. This is Big Ben right here. Um, Let me explain this, okay? So we just had, and I'm actually going to have to just like gloss over all this stuff pretty quickly because this video is really ought to be. I've already done it once. For some reason, the sound wasn't working correctly, and it was over an hour long, And so anyway, what more do I say other than this video really ought to be longer than what it's going to be? So what we're dealing with here is this thing. What happened the other day was, um, let's get a picture of him. Big Ben. Big Ben stopped the other day. Now, oh, you go back a few videos here now when I was talking around about the 10th of April. I'm sure I mentioned something like, oh, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw old Big Ben stop here and, one of these days surrounding, the eclipse, so to speak. I think it would have been 4:10. I'm sure of it because in Back to the Future, that's the time at which the clock stops is 4:10. Okay, 4:10, 10:04. Okay, now Big Ben didn't stop at 10:04. It stopped at 9. And what they managed to get the 9/11 reference in here because what this is the story, right? It's the clock stops at 9 o'clock. Um, then it rings 11 chimes at 10:06. So we have this 9/11 reference, um, and we have this 10:06 reference, and the day that it happens on is the 24th of April, 424. Okay, so we have this 42 reference as well. So I'm going to explain to you why this kind of ties back in with Back to the Future and the clock stopping in Back to the Future. It's really to do with all these numbers, okay? Now, if I go to this chart, actually before I go to this chart, what I really need to show you is a key piece of information and I don't know the guy's channel, but he goes on about it all the time. I can't remember the name of it. Not off the top of my head, but if you go to We Seek, We Find, he's actually got a clip of this guy talking in his Big Ben video that he's just done. So somebody could probably post who it is in the comments. But anyway, needless to say, this English guy, I don't know who he is, but he talks about Big Ben being named for the Benben stone, which is basically the Benben stone is the top of the pyramid. Okay, supposedly it doesn't say it in. I don't think it says it in Wikipedia, but supposedly, this thing originates with um, some kind of meteorite as well. Okay, and again, in iPet Go, we have the meteorite hitting the top of the pyramid, hitting the capstone, the Ben. So that may be a reference. Again, it's it's just a reference back to all this stuff. Okay, but with that being said, now we know that this is the capstone. We can put two and two together, and we could probably say that Big Ben is the clock tower, is the capstone. Well, Big Ben is the clock tower, but I'm talking about the clock tower in Back to the Future. The clock tower in Back to the Future is Big Ben. I mean, if you look at what the clock tower in Back to the Future is, it's really City Hall. It's really the town hall. Yeah, it's the county blooming courtroom. Yeah, it's the courthouse. It's the place where all the fictional rules are made up. It's the temple. Yeah, the same as Big Ben has the Houses of Parliament, the government, right there next to it. Okay. So anyway, this is Big Ben here. This is the Ben. This is the Eye of Providence. Yeah, the capstone. Okay, it's all the same thing. It's all the same idea. This is the the clock tower in Back to the Future. Okay, the eye there is the clock face. Okay, so this is what we got going on. Okay, now what I really ought to do is, I think I've got that copied already. What we need to do is we need to go through some of these numbers, right? And the first place to start is the 10:06. That is on. That is when the bongs go off. Okay, so that's when we have the 11 back. Okay, which is what we're trying to get back from the loss of 11 on 9/11. We're trying to regain that balance back, right? If I go to the center of this table here, this is the Queen's Cross, okay, chart. These are all Fibonacci golden ratio encoding numbers here, and right at the center of this thing, where I've just put the cross, we've got 44. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. Yeah, the golden ratio phi is 1.618, yada yada yada. We got that 16. Okay, very important number. I know that's very basic. 4 times 4, 4 times 4 is 16. But what we have going on with the Eye of Provenance, and really what I need to do now. So you've seen the set. So this is the center of this thing, this 4/4. Okay, I know that's basic. I know that 10:06 connection to that is very basic, but this will make more sense as we go on. So let me go to, let's do new here. Okay, don't save, and let me just paste, because I already got this up. And then what we need to do is we need to make this way bigger so we can have a look at. Zoom in, dude. What I need to do here, hang on it. Dear oh dear down. Okay, this will work. And let's put brushes on. Let's go red. And let's go size. Let's go this size. This thing at the top of the dollar bill, the Eye of Providence, right? This has some dimensions, and in millimeters, if you go and measure one of these, if you measure the dollar bill, get your millimeter side of the ruler. It makes sense to use millimeters because we're dealing with the spiritual side of reality here. Okay. Now, if you measure from the top of this point here down, straight line, this measurement here is 4. Okay, so there's our first piece of encoding. There is 4, right? If you measure across here to this point, from this corner to the center, this is 2. Okay, and so obviously this other side here is another 2. So anyway, we've got a 4-2 reference already. Okay, and the base and the height is 4 by 4. Okay, now 4 by 4 obviously is 16. This is encoding a square here. Okay, and the square, well, if you put the rest of this in, okay, there's your square. And now what you can see there is in the square, we have some angles here that are very important anyway, and we also have some shapes here that are important as well. So the first thing to note is this top angle, which I've mentioned before. This angle right here, I just colored this part in red here. We've got an arrow there now, but that angle there that's at the top there is actually 53, and it ought to be 53.13. Okay. Anytime you have a square and you go from one corner back up to the center point of the opposite side, and you do the same thing here, that angle there is going to be 53.13. Interesting thing about this angle as well is this is one of the angles that is in a 3, 4, 5 triangle as well, a real special triangle. So that's kind of in, just in passing. I thought I'd mention that because we can get some stuff from 3, 4, 5 triangles in here as well. Some interesting numbers, but I'm not going to do that right now. So this is his 53.13. Again, 5-3 is coming up. Okay, it's coming up pretty quick as well, and it's a pretty obvious date to pick out of the dollar bill with that thing there, with the eye of provenance. Okay. What else have we got going on here with this with what's going on here? Actually, I don't want to take that off of there, but if we come across again, in fact, let's get rid of something. It's just a little bit messy, this. So you can see the 4-4 reference now. Okay, so the 16, when that thing stops, is pretty important. Yeah, because that's the area of that square. Okay, that's 4 squared. Okay, let's do this. And so we've got this coming down here, we've got the base coming across like this, and we've got a square being formed, from there, and then we're coming down, we're going here, oops, and we're going here as well. So we've got this square, right? Now we can come across, follow this angle here, and follow this across here. Now what you'll see there is we've got, hopefully this is coming up okay, we've got 4 triangles, okay, and what we also have is we have this kind of, it's a very, very sort of basic Hospice Maria type symbolism. The M here, we've got an M and we've got an A in here as well. Okay, it's kind of fascinating stuff as well. If essentially we have the womb and the phallic symbol entering into it. Okay, but again, we've almost got 4 columns here. 2 sets of twins going on, which again is kind of fascinating. I know they're triangles, but just imagine them to be, towers. Okay, imagine them to be columns. Okay, so it's pretty interesting stuff. So we've got the date of when this thing happens, the 424 thing encoded with the 2 across 4 up. What I'm going to tell you now is this length. Let's just see this length here in blue now. That length in blue, well, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it is 4.4. You're the 4-4 again. Okay, 2-7, yada 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 yada. Yeah, I was just talking about 427 a couple of videos back. So we've got the 44 and then 427 encoded in here in this length, but we've for definite got the 4-4s, the first 2 digits here. So again, this is kind of special. What else do I want to say about this? Let me show you the other reference now. We're Back to the Future, the other clock that stops. Okay, for new people this will be interesting. For old people, you'll have seen this in some other videos. So here we go. Actually, I want to be on that. I want to go to this, and so I'll draw in. So this again, we're dealing with similar numbers that I showed you in the Queen's Cross there. In fact, these are the same numbers except they've not been reduced. And we don't have every single row in here, but we've got quite a few. So what I want to do is I want to draw we can do it in black. I want to draw in the clock tower now in here. Okay, so there's the clock tower, basically pretty easy to do. and we'll put a clock face. We'll put the eye in. Okay, and we've got the eye of provenance again. It wouldn't surprise me, let me just mention this, that the if we were looking at this thing, if you look at this thing in Back to the Future, what you have, like with the eye of provenance, it's quite a pointy, upright pyramid, right? But the clock tower is a much lower, shallower pyramid, right? It would not surprise me that if these are two of those triangles that I was just showing you, they've just been flipped. So where this would be divided here, we've just taken, put this edge up to this edge now and laid it on its side, sort of thing. And so it wouldn't surprise me if this is the same, the same angles in here as what we would see here. This angle would be the same as this angle. Okay, and these two angles together would make the 53. I'm not 100% on that, but it would not surprise me in the least bit if that was the case. I really ought to research that. But anyway, and actually it probably would be worth going into actually looking at the one in Back to the Future, rather than just a generalized sort of temple, Diana temple type thing. But anyway, getting sidetracked already. And you can also notice that the 53 is down here as well, which would make part of that angle. It would be part of this angle here. This would be half of 53 right here, maybe. Anyway, so the clock stops at 10:04 in Back to the Future. So notice that with Big Ben we had the 9/11 encoded, and so let me just stylize this a second, and show you this with Back to the Future, is that the lightning comes down. So if we stylize lightning as a 5/5, okay, it comes down, it hits the top of the clock tower, and it goes along the wire, yeah, over across the 9/11 there, and it heads over to the lamppost, which is the number 10. Yeah, if we just put a stick on the on the O, there's the lamppost. It's the number 10 completion. Okay, 9/11 encoded. Again, we've got the same thing going on with Big Ben. If we were just to look at this lightning, let's just look at where else this could possibly route through. This 4/4 right here. Okay, so this is kind of fascinating. It's going the same, this is a similar thing here as well. Okay, just thought I'd mention that. I mean, it's not right on it, but it's it's fairly close. So you can see this is absolutely this is one of the most mental things that I found, I think, is this whole clock tower thing in here. Anyway, 10:04, the 10:04 again. If we come to the end of the cycle here, the number 10 again, the lamppost, we can see that if we total up to this point, 410 is what we get. Now, if you recall as well, this 14 in the center of here has a ton of references back to Pluto. 9/11 itself references back to Pluto. I don't know what else to say about it other than we're dealing with a lot of Pluto references. Well, I'll show you something else if I didn't already show it, but I can't remember. And also notice the 16 down here as well. That's kind of interesting as well, that it's kind of part of this. I mean, I usually don't come all the way down there, actually. I usually come up to about here somewhere with it. And that's kind of interesting. The 16's on one corner. We've got the 222 on the other corner. Anyway, I don't really want to make this video too long. I just thought it was worth showing you that. Also, was there really anything else that I really wanted to show you? I want to just go back to this just for 1 second. And let me just say that the eclipse, this is hugely tied into that Pluto. The number jumps, some of the number jumps through to this eclipse thing is just absolutely crazy with the reference back to 9/11, and the fact that Big Ben is now called Elizabeth Tower. Well, they renamed it anyway, Elizabeth Tower. It's kind of interesting with the whole connection with 9/11 and the Queen. I don't know what else to say about it because I've got about 3 or 4 other things that I want to talk about, but I don't really want to make this video overly complicated, to be quite honest. I think that'll do for this one. We'll pick up on another video, a couple of other interesting things, but we're going to leave it there for this one, and I'll catch you on another video soon. 2 things to just note though, just before I go. This was the other thing I wanted to show you. 24-hour clock, 2200 hours is 10. Here's the 6. So there's your 10:06. Let's come down and look at what these rows are. These are 825s and 852s. Okay. Right at the start of Back to the Future, Marty is late for school. Doc has set the clocks that were at 8 o'clock. They're 25 minutes on. Okay, it's actually 8:25. This is fascinating stuff. Check out this on our center line here, 2 and 5:25, the quarter. That lamppost in the dollar bill is actually made up of the 1 and the 25. Okay, the quarter. Yeah, Washington's head. Those are both portrait frames. One is referencing the dollar bill. One is referencing the quarter that Washington's head is on sideways. Okay, interesting. Again, 8:25. This is when, just right before that, when the phone rings, the Phoenix rings with the red bell as well, like a fire bell going off. The Marty is ejected from the amp, okay, from the big black box with Mary at the center of it, with the moon at the center with the blue ring, okay. But it's a big black box at that point in time that he plugged into. Yeah, and then he's ejected out of that thing. Rock and roll is what he says. Whoa, rock and roll. Yeah. The black pearl is the rock that has to roll away from the tomb for Christ to be resurrected, okay? This is the, this thing here, the 4-8, okay? 825, super duper important, yeah? 25 is referenced several more times at the start of Back to the Future. In fact, when we see, let me just mention this as well, when we see Marty being asked to save the clock tower, right before that point, save the clock tower, right before that point, Marty says, check out that 4x4. Okay? Check out that 4x4. The black Toyota 4x4, yeah? The black Toyota. Yeah? The Eclipse. This is a reference back to the Eclipse again with the 4x4. Okay? And also, which is what we've just seen with Big Ben, the 4x4. Save the clock tower. He gives her 25 cents to save the clock tower. Just super interesting what we got coming up. We also got Madonna. I thought Madonna would be interesting for today and tomorrow, because today, while I'm here, just mention it, today is the 122nd day of the year. That ties back in with all my whole bunch of stuff with the Die Another Day stuff that's, you know, with the Die Another Day 122 stuff. Okay, and obviously 5.2 as well is also Die Another Day. We've moved on one day from the 122 stuff that's in Die Another Day. So obviously 5.2 as well is hot for Madonna. And, you know, all these dates are hot for the Hoover Dam as well. So the next really big sort of dates are the 8th, 9th, and 10th for the Hoover Dam. My thoughts on those is the 8th, really, more than anything. Notice the room 237. Notice the 129 super balanced number. And so I've talked about these dates before in the dollar bill. And in fact, if you go back through the back catalogue, you can find out about the lampposts and not the lampposts, the leaves and berries that are on each side of Washington in his portrait frame. Okay, 85 is encoded there and 95 is encoded there, and that's the place where the dam is formed. So again, lots of interesting stuff. Is there anything else I wanted to say about that? No, I'm going to leave it there. I'll do the horses another day, because I got some really interesting stuff on the horses as well. Was there anything else I wanted to mention about this? No. I think that's it for now. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. One other thing with the 25. Marty, when he faces off with Strickland, they form the Cup of Christ there. That is also a 52-25 reference. And one more little thing with the Court of references is when he shows up for school, I'm pretty sure Jennifer says something like, it'll be 4 tardies in a row. 4 tardies in a row is a leap year. Okay, every year is a little late. It takes 4 years to make the one come. Okay, the one will come is the quantum leap, the leap year. Okay, which is what we're in this year. So this is fascinating stuff. I'm gonna leave it there for this one. I think that's enough. Thanks for watching, and I've got to do the horses next, and there's also another really interesting Who's That Girl Madonna one as well, which actually will probably be with horses. So alright, thanks for watching, cheers, bye.